of the wrinkles, you know.
Well, just think how much money you're
Oh my
saving on
God.
lipstick.
Well, that's true. Except I always put it on, so then when I take this mask off, I have it all over my face. I look like a clown.
Yes.
Think anyone's gonna be in the hallway?
Good
Keep
to
those
see ya.
speakers off.
Nice seeing you. two.
No
How's it
one
been?
should be in the
Good?
hallway. I don't
can't-
think
I can't
anything's that
complain. How
exciting.
about you? How you
You know what I
holding
mean?
Oh, yeah.
I think all I'm gonna have
your
is
wife,
the
you okay?
prosecutor.
Yeah, we both have our shot. So
I think.
just,
You know why all the blinds are
no,
shut? I
no,
kinda feel like
another
weird.
page
I
in the-
know,
in
isn't
the
that-
story.
You can't move it with there's not a new variant.
They had,
You know, only there's
Oh, okay.
always gonna be.
I agree.
Do what we do and
Chris,
hope we live in the-
Yeah, indeed.
Hi there. Hi, I made it. It's so good to see people in person.
I know, I'm tired
Oh,
of
my
Zoom.
goodness, thank you for being here,
I'm
girls.
tired of Zoom.
Yes, all the guys are glad that you're here, Rose, so they don't have to act
It
as
has come
secretary.
dangerously close to
No.
your spot.
I
so-
heard you wanted to do my work.
Yes, I
You and Bob.
Yeah.
I tried to
whole
do
thing
it
is?
poorly so that you would have to keep going.
Seriously? What?
I walked by it, I stood up and I'm like, I'm 6 foot. Like, oh,
No way. Okay. I'll tell Colin first. They've been by there and he didn't say anything, but then again,
Back to winter
he didn't
jacket.
walk up to it, I'm sure, you know.
coming out party or something, or coming in party.
Just being here is a party.
Just being here is a party. You are right.
We're gonna pass on that.
Kobe said just being here is
You
a
get
party.
Mhm.
My second shot is Saturday,
They don't buy it.
so I'm close.
And,
Hunter's not here. in
I got
person.
my-
Well, Hunter's
Yeah,
the
but
only
I-
coward in the group. He
But
won't
I
come in,
said
he won't face us in
Thank you. He's
person.
not here in
I
person.
told him in the form, like, what do
You haven't had
Oh,
two shots yet,
exactly.
Lon?
Right,
Yeah,
my
okay.
second one's
I
Saturday.
saw the thing, so I made a phone
Saturday.
call. I said,
Oh, good, 'cause you'll have Sunday as your day off. You should do the day after all, trust
Yeah,
me.
that-
Yeah,
They
because
said they were
Joan
doing
just got her
500
first and she got hit pretty hard.
For her
Oh, yeah.
first, with
They're
her
cranking
first.
them.
Yeah,
Oh,
but she
15 minutes,
had
real
COVID
fast.
real
They're moving
bad.
them through.
She
That's
was,
right, she did.
Yeah, she was flat on her back for 10 days.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, my
Great.
nephew's, still, John's dad,
Yeah, my second one was
Um,
25th of April.
still, is probably, they keep telling me he's
And
never
then-
going back to work.
I
And he's
got
still
two
on
next days ago,
oxygen.
Oh, my
Good
goodness.
luck on that right now, just because it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, they said
The
probably
Johnson
before
Johnson.
school. we can get vaccinated.
Yeah, they should.
We don't have anybody today?
No, I'll explain
Well, they
that
may
in just a
actually get
second.
this Johnson Johnson back online anyway.
I'm hot
I
now.
don't know why I did
Is
that.
it
I like-
7
I like
o'clock
that.
there
I
yet,
like
guys?
that
I got
flavor.
a glare
No,
on.
almost.
Yes.
That was a
Okay.
little bit
Yeah.
tight, but I'm trying to. Right on the nose.
Okay, I understand it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to call this meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Thank you all for coming tonight. If you've never had the pleasure of spending an evening with us, let me give you a preview of how we function. First of all, it's great to have everybody here in person. We are missing the court reporter. However, she is going to be transcribing from the Zoom. So when you talk, please make sure that you talk into the microphone so that she can hear you. And you talk as clear as possible with these masks on. Okay. How this meeting will proceed, we have 2 requests for variance. If you are asking for a variance, you are asking us to take an existing zoning rule and change it for you. I will read the request that you have asked, then the city will present pictures of the property and talk a little about the existing zoning rule and what your changes will incorporate. Then I will ask somebody to come to the podium and talk about why you want this variance, what would be a hardship if it were not granted. And then the board will ask you questions. When we're done asking questions, we will close the public comment and we will decide, we will talk among ourselves. We will come back into the public content and we will take a vote. So you will know tonight whether or not your request for your variance has been granted. If it should not be granted or you have other issues, then you, of course, may always go to the Court of Common Pleas. Since this is a quasi-legal proceeding, I'm going to ask you if you're going to testify, if you'd please stand now and raise your right hand. It's so good to see people stand. I don't have to guess that they're standing on Zoom. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you're now sworn in. Okay, the first motion is the approval of the minutes of the March 10th meeting as mailed.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Okay, the first request for variance tonight is Eric and Andrea Radar at 1822 Timber Ridge Drive have requested a variance to allow the construction of an 11-foot by 20-foot addition to the existing attached garage, which would encroach 4.5 feet into the 10-foot required setback from the side property line to the south. Heather?
Thank you. So under section 150.16 bulk and density regulations, the following for each district are the required minimum residential lot sizes, the required building setbacks, the required minimum lot frontage, the maximum building height, and the maximum lot coverage. Terms are defined in 150.03. In this case, the property is zoned R-2 single family residential, and you'll see the minimum side yard requirement is 10 feet. Here's an aerial view of the height of the property highlighted. Using pictometry, we show you some 3D views of the property. This, of course, is the front. Wrong picture there. Sorry about that. That's the next one. And here's a view of the back of the property. And then another view looking at the rear of the property. Here's pictures now. This is the front of the property. And here would be the side of the house where they wish to add to the garage. I also want to let you know along that property line, there is a 7.5-foot utility easement that was part of the plat. So even if you do grant the variance, that still needs to be vacated by the city. So that's a different process, not involving the zoning board. But again, just want to let you know, there is no utilities there, and it'll be an issue between basically the utilities department letting us know how that will be vacated. Here's a further back view of the area. And then here was the sketch that was part of your file, or actually packet. We did receive one letter from Andrea and Stephen Moore of 1825 Timber Ridge Drive, Bowling Green. This is in response to the required letters that we send to the adjoining properties, dated March 30th, 2021, addressed to Heather Saylor, Planning Director, City of Bowling Green, 304 North Church Street, Bowling Green, Ohio, 43402. Dear Ms. Saylor, we received a letter dated March 26, 2021, requesting our response regarding a variance request by Eric and Andrea Rader for the property at 1822 Timber Ridge Drive. This request will come before the Board of Zoning Appeals on April 14th, 2021. We have no objections to the City of Bowling Green granting the Raiders' request for a variance. Thank you, Andrea and Stephen Moore. We did not receive any phone calls or any other letters besides that one. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the Administrative Code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first-class mail, to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedural requirements for the hearing have been met.
Thank you. Mr. Rader? When you approach the podium, please give us your name and address before you start to tell us why you're requesting the variance.
Okay, my name is Eric Rader. We live at 1822 Timber Ridge Drive here in BG. Thank you for all that information. And actually the picture, and even if you went back one, I think showed it well. So I guess what we were planning on doing again is adding this side garage on here. The reason we were looking at doing it actually goes back about a little over a year. My daughter at the time said one day she wanted a desk for her room upstairs. So I told her, I said, well, let's go online and find you a desk to work on your schoolwork. And she said, no, Dad, I want to build one. And I said, well, Lil, I have a tape measure and a hammer. That's my extent of woodworking. So I'm not sure about this. 9-year-olds can be persistent. So we borrowed a miter saw and we went to town.
I'm impressed you even knew what a miter saw was.
I learned. I didn't. I actually asked what I needed. And they told me. Oh, trying to find them here. So just shameless promotions. So there's our desk. And that was our next project. So
Oh, that's really nice.
So-
You have a whole new career here for you.
You know what? It turned out amazing. And then a few months later, she decided she wanted an end table for her room. And it actually has a secret drawer where you push it on the side and this drawer pops out. We completely came up with it on our own, no plans. But in the process of doing this, we have absolutely loved it. Her and I out there in the garage building stuff. She's got her own little purple toolkit, and we just have had such a great time doing it together. The difficult thing was our garage space. Again, it's a 2-car garage. In the winter, I don't want to leave my car outside. So it got just difficult. There wasn't the room. Trying to clean up the garage with all the wood shavings. I was worried about the tires in the garage and the car that was there. So actually it was my wife's idea saying, hey, let's look at adding a third bay on the garage. And as we've gone through the process of looking, that's where we're into an issue. So you can see on the pictures, even where the grass looks like it's cut, the actual property line is nowhere near where we have thought it was for 10 years. One of the pictures actually had the stake next to the sidewalk, and it is just way off. So when you look at the aerial views that you had from the auditor's website, from the utilities, the property line looks like it lines up with that tree on the other side of the sidewalk. I have a copy of it, but I thought it was probably easier to. You can see the stake right there. I think it was the utility one or the auditor's one. Right there. So you can see there's the tree right here.
Sir, don't go too far away from a microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So looking at the picture, where that southern boundary is at, it looks like it's the tree, but it's nowhere near where it's actually at. So we actually had Pogemeyer come out and resurvey it.
Mm.
I have the plat. Even when you look at this, that southern property line bends south. And when you actually look at where the stake is at, it actually bends north. So it's just been this huge confusion on where this property, we go with the surveying spike, but it doesn't line up with the auditor's website. It doesn't line up with the utility website. So we were stuck a little bit, and that's why we came here. We've also looked at other places on the property to build it, and there's just nowhere else to put it. There's a large utility electrical line that runs down the back part of the property. I have a picture of the, so this was from the utility department, emailed me this. So really we were restricted on where we could build. So that's when we started looking more at the side of the side of the garage to add it on. And also trying to find another place on the property was just financially impossible. I mean, the cost went up so much to add an outbuilding. So we had talked with our neighbors and they were perfectly fine with us doing it as well, which is why we were applying for that variance to get a little closer to the property line or that setback. For us looking at it, we want the house to look great. We're never planning on moving. So we want it to fit in with the neighborhood. We don't want it to seem too squeezed in. The picture that showed the side yard, if you look again where we've been cutting the grass, it looks like we would still be well more than 10 foot away from the property line. So aesthetics of looking, I don't believe it would look awkward in any way. When we looked at finishing the garage, we've contracted with Gary Swoop, who said he's done quite a bit of buildings. He actually knew a lot of people on the committee tonight, he had said. And he's going to be drawing up the plans for it, but it'll essentially look just like the current garage, same garage door, just on the side there. So we're not coming up with plans ourselves. I know I had sent in some pretty bad drawings, but he's going to get some more professional ones for us. I think that's all I had. What questions does anybody have?
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Mr. Adar?
The letter that we received, on which side of you, who is that from?
The closer one, so the one below us. Yep, the one that we would be encroaching on that line.
Perfect.
Yep.
You mean you and your daughter aren't going to build this extension?
No, that's a little past us. I can do a desk, but I think my wife wouldn't let me touch that one.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody on the board? Anyone in the audience? Okay, then we will close the public hearing
Could
and
I
discuss amongst ourselves.
apologize. Could I say one more thing?
Sure.
So when you look at the utility picture there, I had spoken with John Stewart at the utility department. He actually came out and looked as well. And we have no utilities on that south side of the property. We had come out and mark everything. There's no gas, electric, water, cable, phone. Nothing is over there.
Okay.
So I think when they did the plat, they put it on the wrong side. I emailed him and within 30 minutes, he was at my house looking at it. And he verbally told me, I've tried to reach out through emails. I haven't been able to get a hold of him, but he said he would have no problem because he said there's no utilities there. So the easement doesn't seem like it's necessary on that side of the house.
It's an easement to nothing, right?
Exactly.
Hey, we'll close the public hearing and discuss among ourselves. Members of the board, what's
Thank
your
you.
pleasure? Comments?
I just felt sorry for the cherry tree.
It looks great now.
I know. I know. Your wife told me.
Anything else? Okay, then I'm going to come back into the public hearing and may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. All right. Hobie first. Huh?
That's
Yes,
fine.
Hobie and then Chris.
Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Secretary call the roll?
Yes. Bob Waddle,
Yes.
David Flieger,
Yes,
Chris Ostrowski.
Yes.
Hobie Johnson,
yes,
Rose Hass, yes. Matt
Yes.
Ostor,
Yes.
and Judy Ennis.
Yes. Your request for your variance has been granted, sir, so you and your daughter can continue your building. The second variance request for tonight is Timothy Gray has requested a variance to allow the construction of a 24-foot by 24-foot
Hmm.
accessory structure, a garage, which would encroach 9 feet into the 10-foot required setback from the side property line to the west at 126 Clay Street. Heather?
Thank you. Under section 150.90 rear yards, B, accessory buildings, number 1, in residential districts and other districts where residential uses are allowed, a detached garage, which is the only garage for its primary structure, may not exceed 18 feet in height and must be located no closer than 5 feet to the rear lot line, 5 feet to the primary structure, and 10 feet to the side property lines. In this situation, it obviously does meet the rear yard requirement and the requirement from the house, but the 10 feet to the side property line would be what the variance request is for. Here's an aerial view of the property on Clay. Using pictometry, you can see there's that existing garage that he does wish to demolish and build a new garage. This is another view. This would be looking towards the west, and then the east, and then looking at the rear of the house. And then here's pictures looking down the driveway at the existing garage, and then closer up. And then this is kind of angled towards the back of the house to see the rear yard. And then here's at the back of the property looking at behind the house and the existing garage. And then this is a picture of the rear yard facing the back of the garage, and then you can see the neighboring property and garage. Here's a sketch that was basically in your packets. We did send a letter, of course, to the adjoining property owners. We did not receive any phone calls or written letters to share with you. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the Ministry of Code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mail, to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedure requirements for the hearing have been met.
Thank you. Sir? Please tell us your name and your address.
I'm Timothy Gray, and I own the house at 126 Clay Street.
Okay.
The reason I'm asking for the variance is you could see from the pictures, I'm basically looking to take it down the structure that existing there. One of the reasons is because the tree that is next to it has grown into the building and actually has separated the wall, so the garage is unusable. My son and 2 of his friends are currently living there. I bought the house to get him out of the dorm because of COVID and not having a true college life. He plays hockey up there, allows him to store his hockey gear. They're going to use the structure to store their gear because there's another hockey player that stays there too. Plus,
You want to talk more into the mic so
Sorry.
we can,
plus his truck and the other vehicles that they have at the house to store in the garage. Right now, I have an unusable structure. And as you can tell by the pictures, the only reason I'm asking to keep an exact spot is because it runs right in line with the driveway as you go down the driveway. If I moved it 10 feet off, I kind of would be in the middle of the backyard if I don't have a lot of space to work with. So nothing above the garage. It's just a 24 by 24 structure with a side door, a side window. I submitted a full set of plans. I have local guys going to do the project as of now. I have K&K Construction is going to do all the concrete work, and I'm asking Jeff Wright possibly to do the structure, the building structure itself. That's about it. I don't.
well, I do see where you have a problem with the tree. That was really obvious.
Yeah, it has a split right down the center too, so it's only a matter of time before the tree actually falls down on my property, most likely, or the
Whose
neighbor's.
tree is it?
It's the neighbor's.
Do they plan on removing it?
I said I would take care of it. I said I absorb the cost so I can proceed with my project.
So it's basically going to be the same distance from the property line as the current structure.
Yeah, it's going to be, I was told originally if I left that wall there, possibly I wouldn't even have to ask for it. But because that's the wall that is literally falling apart, I can't even use that piece of the structure. So, and anymore, the height of that, I can't even get anything into that garage the way it stands. So, so that's why we're asking for the variance, just to keep, and I'm going to, as you can see the concrete there, we're redoing the whole place. I have the same guy going to repoint the structure. I'm only trying to increase the value of once my property and the surrounding properties. I say I should never own a rental property because I like it new. So my son, I replaced all the carpeting, the kitchen, my wife keeps telling me I'm crazy, but my name's on it. I like it to be right. So, so we're just asking for that variance to build a new structure.
Okay.
It looked like you were getting it when I went by today inside.
Yes. Yeah. As you saw the floor and the kitchen that was going in.
Wow.
Yeah. It needed some work. I pretty much bought it unseen. My son came up and
Wow.
saw it and said, "Dad, this will work." And I took some look at the pictures and I got a 42-page report about what was wrong with it. And I'm in construction back in Pennsylvania. I grew up
Mm.
in Pennsylvania, and I said, "Oh, we can fix all those." So let's buy it.
Wow.
Once again, my wife told me I was crazy, but
We need more landlords like
Yeah.
you.
Sure
we
do.
own this place in Bowling Green now. So when I have two
Wow.
daughters, I'm talking into coming to school here.
Yeah, they got the house ready, they might as well, right?
Yes.
Heather, I have a question. He's already into the setback, so why does he
Mhm.
need a variance? Was there ever a variance granted or was it
No,
pre?
no, very old structures, they were built before the
Oh, okay.
zoning code. So when you tear down something, you're voluntarily discontinuing that non-conforming use
Oh.
or non-conforming structure. So you have to go under our current code because,
Oh.
the city would never really get anywhere if it wasn't able to impose their
Okay.
codes on new construction.
So if it had been granted a variance before and that stays with the property,
Right,
and then say he bought it, he wouldn't have to
right.
No, because the
Plus,
variance will stay with the property.
But
It
it's
doesn't stay with the
because-
owner.
because there never was a variance.
Correct.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to guess how old that is, but it's,
I know there was
It's
a
very old
variance originally,
property.
I think, for the driveway, because originally I thought I needed a variance for the driveway also to redo the driveway existing as is, but there is an old variance out there from like 83 or something like that that allowed them to put the driveway
Huh.
back in. But as you can see, actually, my son loves to shovel snow in that, and he's like, Dad, I can't even shovel it because it's falling apart. So it ends up being an ice structure in there. I was up over the winter, and it was just solid
Mm.
ice because no one's out there shoveling. So I own 3 or 4 shovels there already because he likes to buy things too. But he's like, I can't shovel it because there's nowhere to put it, one, and they can't get, can't actually shovel through that concrete that's there.
It'll be cool.
Anybody else have any
cool.
questions or comments? If not, I will close the public hearing and we can discuss among ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moved, provision.
Oh, well, let me come back into the public hearing. Okay, I'm back into the public hearing. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Chris?
Seconded.
David?
Yep.
Okay.
Will the secretary call the roll?
Okay. Judy Ennis?
Yes.
Chris Ostrowski?
Yes.
Matt Bostor?
Yes.
Bob Waddle?
Yes.
Hobie Johnson?
Yes.
Rose Hess, yes. David Flieger?
Yes.
That's it.
Your request for your variance was granted, and thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to visit with us? If not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you all very much. I would ask you to just check with the city to see what type of paperwork you need to get now that your variances have been granted, please. Okay, don't you guys leave, 'cause